glad you're liking the show. I feel like the Crypt Keeper, only uglier, and fuzzy balls. I know a lot of the cases are from back in the day, but to be honest, a lot of the cases that were good came from back in the day. I'm working on something right now, and I'll tell you about it later, but let's just keep it going. So about a year and a half ago, I was driving home, late at night from the office. The streets were barely lit with the flashing bulbs, you know what I'm saying. I had just crossed into Old Town, and I was almost home, and I noticed something laying in the middle of the street. So I slowed down to get a better look. At first I thought it was a pile of clothes just laying in the middle of the street. But as I approached, I realized it was a woman's body. So I immediately pulled over and I jumped out of the car. I quickly ran over to the body. My adrenaline was pumping, let me tell you. She was lying face down. Her hair was covering all over her face. Something just didn't feel right. I knelt down and I gently pushed her hair aside, just to see what she looked like. Her eyes were wide open and her skin was pale as a piece of fucking paper. I knew right away she was dead. I ran to the nearest payphone and I called the cops. I waited at the scene for the cops to show. I started scanning the area for more clues. I got a little bit closer to the body and I noticed that in her right hand was a rose. A Juliet rose. My mother's a florist, what the fuck are you gonna do? It's one of the rarest roses in the world, and it's quite fucking expensive. There was nobody else around, and the streets just felt creepy as shit. I mean, who the fuck would just dump a dead body in the middle of the road, like a bag of dog shit? The cops finally showed up and took the body to the morgue. And because of my reputation, and because I found the body, the police chief just gave me the case. And besides the Juliet rose in her hand, the evidence was shit. So I left the scene and I went home to sleep. Before tackling the case in the morning. But the woman's face just stuck in my head. And I just laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the fuck happened. I finally fell asleep and got about 4 hours before getting up to, shit, shower, and shave. After getting to the office, I called the coroner. He tells me the woman's been dead. Oh. Nah, I'm just kidding. He tells me the bitch has been dead for 2 days. And the toxicology report shows toxin. Whatever the fuck that word is. It was in her system. And there was also 2 small pricks in the hand where she was holding the rose. Tetrodotoxin. There you go. Go fuck yourself. So naturally, I asked the coroner if he had tested the rose for the same chemical that was in her body. And of course, the rose tested for tetrodotoxin. Or tetrodotoxin. I hung up the phone and I made a sandwich. What are you gonna do? I was fucking hungry. I had leftover capicola in the fridge. Here's what it is. Plus this broad wasn't getting any more dead. As I'm eating my sandwich, I couldn't help for the life of me shake this lady out of my fucking head. And how she ended up with this poison in her system. Tetrodotoxin. Yeah, Google it. Now, Deadlock is surrounded by the river, but I've never seen any fucking blowfish in there. So I sat on my computer and I did a little research. Turned out blowfish aren't the other animal that carries the poison. A couple other tetrodotoxin animals out there, and one of them just so happens to be the California New. And I just so happen to know that the pet store in Midtown sells fucking reptiles. So, I called Midtown Pet Store, and they told me they recently sold 3 California newts 2 days before this lady ended up missing. To some lady by the name of Leslie Sparks. Now, Leslie Sparks wasn't just some random woman. Everybody in Deadlock City knew who she was. She's one of the biggest actresses that worked at Midtown Pictures. She was beautiful, but I didn't understand what she had to do with the dead lady. After having a conversation with the reptile bitch, I hung up the phone and I drove to Midtown, to talk to Leslie, who was shooting a picture about a jilted leopard. And god damn it, the picture was called, and say it with me, guy, the Romeo Rose. I found her on set arguing with a man about something, and she looked heated. I approached her and introduced myself. She seemed nervous right off the bat, so I asked her who she was arguing with. She told me it was her husband, who was also the director of the film. Don't miss business with family, folks. Supposedly they were just having a lover's spat. So I responded with, shit happens, what are you gonna do? Then she takes a drag of the cigarette and asks me, I guess you're here for the newts. So I play dumb. I ask her if there's anything she wants to tell me, about the newts. And that's when she breaks. She started telling me the whole damn story. She tells me that the dead lady was a movie extra named Alice Green. Apparently Alice had a reputation for being a bit of a floozy. One day, on a lunch break, from shooting the film, Leslie walked into her husband's movie trailer to, surprise him. I guess when she opened the door, she got a shock, and she was the one that was surprised. Apparently her husband was sitting there, fucking Alice on the kitchen counter of the trailer. Now personally, I'm not gonna put anybody's naked ass on any surface where I make my sandwiches. But that's just me. So I guess she yelled at him and she walked out. And she told me from that point forward, she made a plan to kill Alice. So the day after Leslie found her husband fucking the dead lady, she wasn't dead when he was fucking her. You never know, they're out there. But the day after, she went and got the newts. She then went to a flower shop in Midtown called Luxury Bulbs. They sell all the rarest flowers from all over the world. She bought just one Juliet rose. Then she went home. She began extracting all the poisons from the newts and then putting them on the roses. Carefully spraying them, spritzing them all over the rose. She went to the set the next day to Alice's trailer to give Alice the rose. No hard feelings. Bunch of bullshit like that. The way Leslie tells it, Alice took the rose from Leslie and it pricked her hand. They both sat down and talked about what happened the day before, and as they were talking, Alice started to feel a tightness in her chest and complained about not breathing. Within minutes, she was dead. Leslie then stuffed Alice's body into the trunk of her car and drove over the border into Old Town just to drop the body in the middle of the street like a piece of shit trash. And I know what you're thinking. Why would she randomly just open up and confess to all of this? And I wondered the same thing, so I asked. She told me she didn't give a fuck if she got caught. She just wanted that dumb bitch dead. The police came and arrested her. But before they put her in the car, I had to ask, why the rose? Why the Juliet rose to kill Alice? She smiled and she said, I guess I just like the idea of art imitating life. I closed the door and the car drove off. Damn, she was a good actress. And she was smoking fucking hot. I'll see you around.